Good evening, everybody. This is Vinay from TAI. Welcome to the TAI Startup Showcase, the fourth edition. In this exciting session, we have Dr. Gayatri from Reseda Life Sciences, which is essentially addressing the reversal of the impact caused by the heavy usage of chemicals, and that's affecting our immunity. We also have Parul from Aerologics, a deep tech company which is bringing drones into agri-tech. We also have a special guest in Ragini, who's from Caspian Impact Investments. She has set up four funds up to date. And we have Vijita Shastri, Thai Bangalore's Executive Director, who will be moderating this discussion. Thank you again. Let's make it more engaging and interactive. Over to you, Vijita.
Thank you so much, Vinay. Much appreciated. And first of all, a very, very warm thank you to Ragini and the founders who have joined us. Very nicely, aptly put that 2021 is about us trying to bring as many showcases possible from Thai Bangalore so that people know what startups are up to. And of course, what can we do without the investors? And Dr. Gayatri and Parul have got some very interesting stories. So thank you to the audience to join us to have, and then let me kickstart this by asking Ragini. Ma'am, please, we would all love to know more about the wonderful work that Caspian Debt has been doing. A very interesting hybrid of funds, equity, debt, and we look forward to learning a lot from you as well today. So over to you, ma'am, to kickstart this startup showcase with the investor also talking about investing, funding, and opportunities for founders. So please, let's
Thank you, Vijeta and Vinay, for getting me here. And I'm absolutely pleased to have two women founders with me here. It's really, really encouraging. So I'll just take a minute to talk about Caspian debt. And can you all see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I represent Caspian Debt, which is third fund of Caspian Advisors, which is it's a very pioneering impact investing fund in India, one of the first. And I will tell you a little bit more about it as we go along. Basically, our mission is to enable growth of enterprises, and we are looking for enterprises which are creating social and environmental impact, and they run their businesses responsibly and in transparent manner, and they are sustainable, because debt wouldn't make sense for enterprises which are not sustainable. So I think there are three key things that separate us. We provide customized debt to companies, which we call it, are making contributing to a better world. We help entrepreneurs scale without losing control, because debt usually does not let entrepreneurs dilute their equity. And we try and deliver in very quickly through our digital technology in very seamless manner, service our clients to the extent possible. I do want to spend a little bit of time on what better world means to us. It's about two lenses we apply. One is sectors which have very high impact potential, like food and agri, small business finance, microfinance, healthcare, clean energy, affordable housing. And another lens is access to underserved markets. So we're talking about tier 2, tier 3 cities. We're talking about low income states. We are talking about women-led or women businesses, And I guess both the panelists today really fit into our impact criteria. We are a first fund to be B Corp certified. In the world, there are around 4,000 such organizations, and we are part of it. We hold us as accountable not only to our shareholders, but to the communities that we work in, our clients, our investors, and customers to a great extent. And just a little bit about our history. We've successfully closed two funds: Bellwether, which was the first microfinance equity fund; India Financial Inclusion Fund, which went into other sectors like affordable housing finance. And of course, microfinance was part of that, and financial inclusion enablers. Caspian Debt is it's a perennial fund. It is the third fund. And fourth fund, which we are doing equity from, is SME fund, which has three areas of focus: food and energy, clean tech, and small business finance. and it does Series A plus investments. I will spend a little bit more time about talking about Caspian debt. I'm going to run over this quickly, but I'm available here for your any questions, and stop me if you would like to ask anything. So we were set up in 2013. It's been more than 7 years. We have done business of around 1600 crores till now. We have invested in about 140 companies across different sectors. So what we actually look at is, this is our general sort of thing, that at least 3 years business should be asset light businesses, and that's where our value comes. Because if you had asset, you could collateralize it and get money from bank. Because you are asset light businesses, you need companies, specialized companies are like us, who give customized and collateral free debt. For us, professional management and board is a non-negotiable. The businesses should be scalable with path to profitability. We're not looking at all profitable companies, but they must have. So we won't do any untested ideas or something. We prefer funded companies. And of course, there should be an intent to measure positive impact. We've had diverse set of funders, development financial institutions, both from India and abroad, and several public sector and private sector NBFC banks. And some of our portfolio companies is this 24 Mantra, which many of you may have used. Remedio, which provides eye testing solutions, affordable eye testing surgery. We have Argo Solar, which provides solar solutions. Stella Apps provides IoT solutions for daring. Chrysalis is an education company. Neo Growth provides loans to small businesses. Gramvani is a very interesting tech for development company, which provides IVR solutions to communities and all that. It runs community radios and so I think the biggest advantage of working with somebody like us is that we can customize it to your businesses. We don't have any standard off-the-shelf products. We look at your business model and we sort of customize. So like for an education company, they get paid only in, let's say, March, April, May. So most of your, if you were an education company, you will end up most of your principal payments during then, and otherwise service interest. Sometimes we sort of give moratorium for the principal and collect it later. And we've done bullet repayments, we've done balloon repayments. So all sorts of solutions are available. It is absolutely matched to your cash flows. Very quickly, the way we have been able to support companies is, 43% of our companies have grown in revenue of over 50% after our investment. 80% have gone on ahead and raised further funds because of our thorough due diligence and sign off on their governance and management. 100% companies have customized repayment schedule. Over 60% companies have taken over 3 loans from Caspian. So our lifetime value for customer is very high. We may take time to get you on, but once you're on, you will stay on with us. 97% of our loans are collateral free. In this time, we also do smaller loans like quick loans, which is between 50 lakhs and 1 million. And some of the criteria are here, and this, of course, can be discussed. Overall, we are, very satisfied to know that we've done over 1600 crore of loan disbursement to 140 companies. Our companies together work for 13 SDGs. We have 22 clients which operate in low income states like UP, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha. 19% clients are in non-metro cities. And 34% of the clients were loss-making when we made their first loan. And not 15%, this year, 30% of the clients are such which we were the first institutional lender to them. And, and they overall employ over 95,000 people. So I think I will stop here. Happy to be here talking to other founders with me. And thanks, Vijita. Happy to take any questions or whenever during the discussion.
Thank you so much, Ragini. So while we, the format here we are thinking is Dr. Gayatri and Paro will of course present about their startups. But at the same time, if Parul, you or Dr. Gayatri, do you have any specific questions for Ragini? Because let me just let you know that she's of course a TiE charter member. She has been very, very supportive to us, including on the TiE Women Entrepreneur programs. She has also done sessions for the TiE Young Entrepreneur program. So very beautifully scripted, very warm, a very giving person. And Ragini, if I may also say that, her better half, by the way, has also, he has a journey, her husband has got a journey through the startup world also. So please, we are keeping this as interactive and interesting as possible. So would you guys like to ask Ragini something or just interact with her, have a conversation? Please go ahead.
Vijita, after we present, she will also have some understanding of what we are doing. Can we talk to her post that, if that makes sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, then if that's how we would like to take it forward, absolutely no problem. So Dr. Gayatri, you or Parul, who would like to start first?
Anything is fine. If Parul is okay to take, she can.
Yeah, hi. So I just read about this 30 million revenue you have mentioned in one slide.
So when we look at companies, they should have reached at least 3 crore of revenue, INR 30 million. So
okay.
So that is what tells us that they've been around for like 2-3 years. They are into revenues and all that, because we're talking about debt.
Okay. And generally, if you want to apply, what will be the procedure?
So one is you can go to our website and apply. Another is you can reach out to, I can leave my email and I can connect you to the right investment manager who looks at the sector of your interest,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Parul or Dr. Gayatri, which one of you would like to start presenting?
I can, not a problem.
Please, Dr.
I
Gayatri,
can
go ahead.
start. Yeah.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay. I'll just share my screen. So, you can see the screen, right?
Yes. Go on full screen mode so that we can.
Yeah, I'll go into the full screen mode. Yes. So I represent the company Reseda. I'm founder of it, and right now the managing director as well. It's a private limited company in India. We also have started our operations in Europe, in Netherlands, Hague, and we have a joint venture in US. And just few days back, we started our operations in UK, because UK has separated out from Europe right now. So actually, the company has started with a drive to see how we can address the problem of the deterioration of human immune system. This all comes from our experience with the epidemics like SARS, which was the precedent of your pandemic right now that's going on, COVID, and also problems of dengue, chikungunya, which has actually affected the human population, right? For last decade, these are the main issues. So I'm a chemist basically, and I have done my PhD in phytochemistry. So for me, the major reason that gets into my mind when I think of a pest or a germ and the deterioration of human immune system is how irrationally we have used the chemicals or the synthetic chemicals. So the major reason for us to start this company is also to make human life safer. And if you ask me why is it so important to me, again I would go back to saying, our previous generations were so healthy, they were able to handle the various epidemics, the pandemics that were there, that has come, but we are not able to handle the same way. Best example is COVID. So we say that it's because again of the deteriorated human immune system. So that is actually the driving factor for starting this company. And it actually for me dates back to 2003 because I was in Taiwan, and that is when the SARS broke out. And it was only an epidemic, not like a pandemic right now, but it is more dangerous than COVID-19, what we are facing right now. So I was in the middle of that situation, and what we could see is, as Indians, our immune system was much better than other ethnicities that were there. And we could see that we could actually comfortably ride through the SARS, and none of the Indians were affected by that. So then if we go back and see, we thought maybe it is because the food items we use, or the antioxidants we have in our food, or the way our immune system has developed because of a lifestyle or a food habit is actually giving us the immune system. So the research goes back to 2003, where we started seeing how we can use our ingredients that are coming from the nature, basically driven by Ayurveda, to control the pest or the germ instead of using the synthetic chemicals which are actually affecting our immune system as well, and also helping the pest or germ to improve the immune system because they start developing resistance. And so the core value on which we have built this company is also like, we should not be responsible to create products which tomorrow will lead to a situation like COVID. So we won't allow the pest or germ to develop a resistance through using our products. So that's the solution we came up is again the plant-based ingredients, because nature has a way to handle these situations. So we are trying to understand how nature is handling this situation and how we can bring it into our technology and develop the products from that technology. So we developed a technology that again comes from plant-based ingredients. So we have one technology patent and 2 product patents which have been applied, and we are waiting for the final approval of them. So, and as I said, R&D and innovation is what drives Reseda. I'm basically an R&D scientist. So, and the research that goes back is what I'm addressing in this slide. So everything starts with the 100% synthetic molecules we are using right now to aid, in various products. If I take a small example, our cleaning products in the house or in any of the spaces, they are filled with so many chemicals. So we are actually filling our homes or our living spaces with these chemicals. So they have excellent efficacy, but what happens is we are compromising on the cost, safety and toxicity, which is the factor that is creating the pest and germ to be stronger. So if we move, the reason why people moved from our concepts of Ayurveda to synthetic molecules, if you see, the plant extract molecules have a certain way of handling which cannot be used in these cleaning products. So the efficacy is compromised, though they are safe and toxicity is established. Reproducibility becomes difficult, scalability becomes difficult, quality and stability cannot be addressed. So then we said, okay, let's have a hybrid product. Let us have a synthetic molecule which takes the plant extracts. Then again, there is a problem because the synthetic molecule itself is very dangerous. So then our research moved into concept of saying, can we develop a molecule from the plant extract which actually addresses the technology that is there from the synthetic molecule. So that is where our major research went, and we brought out the technology which actually addresses the problems. Even in plant-based ingredients, we have challenges. I'm not saying we don't have challenges, but then we address these challenges, which actually became a vertical integration of our supply chain, because we are using the plant extracts, and these plant extracts go back to farmers and farming. And if a farmer is again using a chemical in their agriculture land, then again we are bringing those chemicals into those products. So we started working with the farmers. We are helping the farmers to come out of using these chemicals. So we developed a program for the farmers who are working with us to give the plant-based ingredients to us in a way they produce where there no chemicals are being used. They are producing it in a very natural way. So we built a business model for the farmer himself. And we have seen a potential here, which we thought, okay, not the vertical integration of a supply chain. This becomes another business vertical for us, because we are also got into developing a reproducible, quality established, stabilized plant-based extracts as the raw materials for our formulations. So that became a new business vertical for us. Now, during COVID, what happened was, though we were in the essential business, we have all the products that can go for the solution for COVID, like our hand sanitizers, our hand washers, or our disinfectant cleaners, or our air sanitization sprays. We had a major issue in supply chain. When I say supply chain, it is the logistics of the exports, like sending the product from here, because most of our business is in exports, more than in India. So that is the time when we realized we have to localize our operations. Though our R&D will be globalized, still our operation should be localized. So then we set up a manufacturing unit in US, which addresses that local area of US and the surrounding areas. So we could actually supply material from that manufacturing site whenever we had some inquiries from that part of the world. So that is another reason we started another unit in Europe, which would help the European European geography. And also, because we are using plant extracts are very geographical. So it's very difficult for us to transfer the material from one region to another. So we are working with the local farmers in each of these regions wherever we have our manufacturing unit, and we are developing the extracts which make a lot of sense to that particular geography, and we are formulating the products there and supplying the products to that particular geography. So all our operations during the pandemic have become very localized, but the R&D is still focused from India, and marketing and supply, sales is focused from UK. So those two address the complete globe, whereas the manufacturing is very local. So that is the integration we have done. That is a new opportunity. As I said, one is the backward integration of a supply chain, and also establishing our localized, localized operations and localized supplies. And I think it also addresses this concept of made in India, made in USA, made in Europe. I think that is coming up a lot when we are selling the products, because even the governments are promoting the localized products, like locally manufactured products. So our localized operations are helping us to address that aspect as well. And another thing is, like, these plant-based formulations are right now is a very unorganized market. When I say unorganized market, because many of the products do not have the right regulatory clearances. So that is one of the things we have taken it very seriously, that when we go and market our product goes through the complete process of any synthetic product goes through when it goes into the market. So we are very particular of getting the clearances. So we have US EPA clearance, we have US FDA clearance for some of our products. Now we are working on European regulation. We have an Aish clearance from India. So any product that goes into the market, it goes through all these regulatory clearances before it goes into the market. So that establishes the efficacy of the product, as well as it establishes the safety and non-toxicity of the product. And the next thing what we have done is, we don't want to go thin. We don't want to make 100 products or lots of products and just put them in the market. So we have chosen a technology that addresses the lacunae of using a plant-based extract. So we developed the technology, and then we said, okay, we are not addressing all the product lines. We are only addressing those products which address the control of pest or the control of a germ. So we only focus on these, the two applications, and then one product developed for an insect repellent can go into agriculture, can go into as a textile finish. And if, for example, if I'm giving example of an antimicrobial finish, it can get onto a textile, it can get onto a surface, it can go into a hand wash, it can go into aerial sanitization, it can go into agriculture. So it goes into different industries, and Indian industry also can address different applications. So we actually are making a pyramid of our complete product line. So these are the few innovations we brought into our business. So this is the team that is working right now. So Dr. Hilas, me and Gokul, and Sri Lalita and Dr. Pradeep, we are based in India. Siri and Chris are based in Netherlands. Siri is based in Netherlands and Chris is based in UK. Bob and Ray are from USA. So this is the global team that is addressing the complete business from different units of ours. So this is just a glimpse of our facility in India. So the top one is where we have actually presented our products in one of the exhibitions, and this is the team. Next is the team, and third one is where we are doing some trials and in Taj Vivanta in Bangalore itself, and the one with the boy is a microbiology lab, and the next one is a production unit, and those are some of our products. And I think we are actually rearing some mosquitoes in the lab, so you can see the picture of the larvae of the mosquitoes in the lab. So thank you.
So Dr. Gayatri, can I ask you a question?
Sure, please.
That was absolutely fantastic, and I think this product has a lot of. I like the fact that one technology can be used in so many different products, which makes it very scalable. You're not stuck.
Right.
So, what would be your top line today? What is your revenue?
Okay. Right now, the last year we closed at 2.5 crores. This is a 3-year-old company.
Okay.
So the first year was break even. We had a break even. It went to a dip. It went to a total dip. We had quite a bit of losses. We wanted to close the company, but then we fixed it up. And first year itself, we had a break even. Then second year we had around 1 odd crores. And third year we had 2.5. And this year we are expecting to close 5 times of that. Around 10 crores we are planning to close.
That's an amazing. I think you're keeping a sight on both revenues and profitability.
Profit, yeah.
Are you funded
and
at the moment?
No, we are not funded. We are bootstrapped. So how we are handling the funding is, instead of taking an investor on board, we are trying to get into partnerships. So the partnership in US is basically a 50-50% share of both the parties.
Correct.
So that's how. And we have a partnership in UK right now, and Netherlands is more of through the startup. We went through the startup incubation in Netherlands. So that's how we are managing the funding. We are trying to avoid investment to a certain level. So till we are very clear on how the operations would be, how the company is going to be structured globally, and how we are going to move forward. See, this COVID has given us a lot of question marks, right? So we are restructuring a lot of our business.
And
we are trying to cut down most of
your products. How are you selling your products?
We have 3 streams right now, revenue streams right now. One is B2B. We are working with a multinational FMCG company where we supply our ingredient as a raw material.
Okay.
And we are on e-commerce sites. We are on e-commerce site mostly in India. And we are targeting the organic stores to start with in India. Okay. And Netherlands is more focused on farming and agriculture, the extraction part of that, the supply chain part of that, because Netherlands is a hub for farming, right? And US is again a similar structure as in India. And UK is one that is going to drive the complete sales, marketing, business development, and sales.
Great. Great product. Yeah. Vijeta, back to you and other audience if they have questions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Ragini. Thank you for this interaction as well. Dr. Gayatri, wonderful work that you're doing. Something that we must say that we have a lot of respect for. More than anything else, we just wish you the very best. Keep growing, keep doing well, create a lot of innovation and employment, and happy to keep, doing whatever support that we can extend to you. We'll happily do that, Dr. Gayatri. Okay. And now would I request
Thanks,
Parul?
Vijeta. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay. Parul, would you like to please kickstart your presentation? Parul, yeah, perfect.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to go, please.
Yeah. Okay. So hi, I'm Parul, co-founder of Aerologics. So we are basically into agri-tech using drones and ground vehicles, that is UAVs and UGVs. And we are providing services from last 3 years almost now. And we are in the area of different crops like paddy, horticulture, and different cash crops. So this is my team. I have one more co-founder. His name is Rohan. He's masters from IIT Bombay, and he has 6+ years of experience in aerospace industry, including drones and different design of air vehicles. Then I have done my missiles technology. I have done masters in missiles technology in 2014, and then I have worked with DRDO and a few other startups in Bangalore for the UAV designs. And then we have tech lead Biswaji. He's handling most of our product development and other technical things. He has worked with Tata Motors, especially in the embedded systems and the robotics domain. And so, as I mentioned, we are providing the services in the field of agriculture. So our solution starts from the surveillance part, where we go and do the mapping of the area, how the area looks like, what are the elevation levels, and how the terrain of that area is. Then we do the analytics using multispectral sensors and the normal RGB sensors. So we can predict the crop health, yield estimation, and if there are some diseases coming up. And we can also plan the irrigation in that particular area based on the elevation level of the grounds. Then the main solution we are focusing right now is the drone spray solution, which I'll be talking in the further slides. And the other solution we have is the seed bombing solution. So seed bombing solution is basically used for the forestry, where it's very difficult for the manual labor to go and plant the seeds and saplings. So that same thing can be done using drones. So this is the whole solution model, as I just mentioned: data acquisition, processing, digital prescription, field scouting, and drone spray. So these are the main key insights what we get from multispectral sensors and the RGB sensors. That is like terrain info, which I mentioned, how the terrain looks like, how the surface looks like. Then the plant height. So these things are basically used in the cash crops and the fruit yield crops. Then we can tell the stress areas, like if there are some diseases, if there's some pests, or if any nutrient deficiency in that particular area. Then we can also identify weed patches based on the NDVI index of that particular crop. So irrigation channels are basically used for the water flowing, like where the water should flow from one place to another place. Then the spraying solutions, currently we are present in almost 5 states now, including Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Himachal Pradesh. So we are providing solution for the drone spray, where a drone will go and map the whole area, and based on the area, it will do the spray. So we have different variants of the drones, which can carry up to 10 liters and 16 liters of the chemical. So what is the main advantage over here is the chemical used is less, and moreover the water usage is very less. So when a person is doing a manual spray, he is using almost 100 to 120 liters of water per acre. Wherever when we are doing it using drones, it can be done with 10 to 12 liters of water, the same thing. Because we are using very concentrated solution, So right now, like last project, I have done it in Tamil Nadu in Erode. So there we have done the biochemical solutions itself with the company. So we have sprayed almost 8 liters of their biochemical along with 12 liters of water. So per acre, we have used like 2 cans, that is 10 liter each, and the efficiency and the productivity of that particular area was very high as compared to the manual labor, manual spray. And the other advantage what we are getting over here is when the farmer is spraying the pesticides, so he's inhaling those pesticides and insecticides along with spraying. So that thing is also like minimized now, because he is not going inside the fields and the drone is going inside the fields, so there is no harm to the human health. So these things I just explained. These are the plant health monitoring, which I have already explained in the previous slides, like what and all analysis we can get from the multispectral, which are mainly used for the cash crops like grapes and cashews. Right now we are using it for. Then seed bombing, we have done a pilot with Karnataka Forest Department in last year, and we have got the germination rate of around 70% as of now. With the drone-based launch mechanism. So these are our currently revenue streams. So we are working with government bodies, we are working with farmer producer organizations, then we are working with village like block levels and taluka levels in India. And then now we are planning to expand to other countries. We are talking to people in Australia and UK as of now for the expansion part. So these are the few awards we have got in last couple of years. We were the winner of Elevate program, Karnataka Elevate program. Then we have won the Startup World Cup. It's an international event. So we were the regional winners of that event from India. Then we were the first prize winner of Upstart, that was in IIT Kanpur. Then IoT Next, oh sorry, there is a problem. Then I was a part of Go Global UK program, for which we went to London to attend their program to like see the collaboration and partnership with the UK companies. I think I have explained about the product, what we are offering. So we are currently offering it as a service. We are not selling the product as of now. So we are, as I mentioned, like we are into, we are present in different states, and we have covered paddy, then grapes, areca nut plantation, and guava plantation as of now. So now, right now, we are currently focusing on areca nut plantation in Karnataka and coconut plantation in Tamil Nadu for the solutions.
Thank you, Parul.
Yeah, I would be happy to take any question.
So, do you have these centralized drones which your team operates? How do you manage in different states,
Yeah, so currently our team only goes along with the drones because it's very, so what now we are planning is we'll be keeping one drone, not in all the villages of the states, but at least where we have like good scope in the market. So we are planning to train people over there. So like the man labor available there. So we'll be training people and how to fly and do the basic repair and maintenance. So that is the plan for this year. So we are already talking to like, if I'll talk about North, so how things work there, it's like all the pesticide shops, they have a good hold in the villages part. So we are planning to collaborate with them, who are the like resellers of the pesticides and chemicals over there. So we'll be training one of their people so that our operation cost can be reduced.
So right now, do you apply through government tenders or government departments just find you? How does this work?
So I haven't applied for any tender because again, it's a very lengthy process, and for startups, they'll ask for a lot of other things like revenue and all. So we have done private projects, and for Forest Department, it was like a small, it was a pilot project. So it was not through that 3 quotation thing, not for the tender purpose.
I have a couple of questions. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the first one is a great story. In terms of the average acreage in India, it is about 1 acre. from an average
Yeah.
acreage perspective. So in terms of the business model, what are the sort of what would be your preferred set of clients? Because an average farmer is not going to be your client, correct? Because he's got an acre or less than an acre, where a drone may not be that convenient or productive for him to use out from a technology perspective. So what is your target market in some sense? Yeah.
Okay, so here, like, I'll just take a recent example, what I have done in Tamil Nadu. So there, like, we have tied up with the company who is into biofertilizers production. So they have got the cluster of farmers under them. So they had almost 500 farmers, 250 farmers, which had, and like average, we have covered 600 acres in a month with them. So what is happening is, so it, like, the average land holding size is like 1-2 acres only, but we are working with cluster of farmers. We are not working with single farmer here. And similar thing we are following with the farmer producer organizations also. So what is happening? So like in FPOs also, what they have is they have 1,000 farmers signed up with them or 500 farmers. So we are targeting FPOs or clients like ITC, Mahindra, who have like contract farming, who have at least 100 acres of land with them.
Correct. So effectively, you're working through the cooperatives, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we are working.
Understood it. Right? And in terms of as a service business model that you just spoke about,
Yes.
the technology, drone technology is today getting commoditized, correct? And what are the entry barriers you're seeing? Because the chemicals aren't yours, the drone is yours, and the technology is yours. What would be the entry barriers for somebody new to come in and take it over? As an example, why wouldn't a Mahindras do it by themselves? Why would they need to come to you?
Okay, so yeah, people are doing it themselves. Like Mahindra is also getting into this business now. Now we are collecting the data along with the spraying. So our main like USP is in the data. This thing we are working on AI models for the crop health prediction. So which will again, like, we need lot of data for that. So the more the data you have, more will be the accuracy. Simple, like it's a computer vision thing. So we have already collected over, like, from last 2 years, we are collecting this data. So that advantage we'll get over them.
Thanks. Yeah.
On the
Thank
software front. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prash. Nice of you to come in and ask this question. Okay. See, one of the things that I would love to understand also, Parul, you have been part of Elevate, the TIE had done this Go Global program along with the UK government.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare yourself for grants for these kind of programs? I think if you can what else are you doing in the next 6 months? What have you got set your sights on? How are you guys working on it? I know you're a hustler and, very inspiring to see that, and that you never ever should you stop that energy and fight out to, grow. But how do you prepare yourself? How do you find opportunities?
So the main thing over here is your networking. So generally I keep myself updated. I generally keep everyone in the loop here. So like I'll take your example itself. So I'll keep talking to people if there is something coming up. Then again, it's a whole process, like applying for the grants, like then giving the pitches. Now, once you go it, like if I talk about my first pitch, I was, I think, pathetic in that. I was literally shivering over there, and but now I'm more confident because it's been like I have done more than 300 pitches now in front of investors, in front of like juries and all. So yeah, people, like, networking here certainly helps. When you talk to more and more people, you'll get to learn a lot. So that's how, like, I generally work. So even for my clients also, like, I have delivered a project, so I generally, like, keep sending them few messages, emails, updates and all. So that's how I think people should, keep themselves updated about the new coming, like whatever it's there. If there are some updates, if there are some programs coming up, like today you have mentioned about this National Startup Awards. So that's how we'll get to know when you are more, like when you are connected to people. If I'll not be connected to anyone, then I'll not get to know about anything. Internet is not just the source, so you need to speak to people as well.
That's a nicely stated one. You have to speak to people. You have to be in touch.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Networking, I think it's the ultimate key. That's what I believe.
Awesome.
Though it's a waste of time also going to programs, no doubt in that. But you have to go. You don't have any other option.
that's yeah. You got to take what comes out of it. Fantastic. Thank you, Ragini, you would like to say something? Yes.
No. It is just fantastic how these both women founders have gone into that, very deep technological, though different directions. But just wanted to know, why would you, what could be the reason that your business plan snapshot is not part of your deck in terms of where do you plan to be in a few years or things like that, or
Okay, to be honest, it was there for me. I just skipped because I thought I'm just consuming more and more time, and people, I don't know whether they'll be interested here in knowing the business plans or not.
Yeah,
So I was not sure
it
about
was
the
very
audience
much-
was here.
You want to
Sorry?
show it? Very
Yeah.
quickly. Parul, show it. Go for it. Can you
Yeah,
see?
sure.
What I mean to say is that, and take, you can take this with a pinch of salt. I'm just saying, usual, anecdotal, what investors say is that women are absolutely fantastic at their technology, but they never talk about scale and business.
Right.
So I'm just
I've heard
asking.
this earlier. Yeah. So, okay, I'll just take a minute to explain this. So what process we are following is, as I mentioned, we are currently providing just the services as of now. So it's like first phase, we started with simple mapping using multispectral sensors and RGB sensors. That was almost 1.5 years back. Then we got into seed bombing and the complete service, starting from the data acquisition till the processing part using both the sensors. And then we have started doing this spraying pesticides and insecticides last year itself. Then third phase, now what we are getting, as I mentioned, we are collecting a lot of data. So we are now partnering with other companies like SatSure and all. So where we can sell the software, we can sell the data itself. Like it can be one source of revenue for us. So our third phase definitely will be hardware sales, which we are like doing it in-house. Because right now in India, main problem is like there are companies who are getting the products from China directly. So obviously, like because the scalability is the issue, and then the production in the production, so there are a lot of issues because we'll get in cheaper price in other countries as compared to India. So right now we are getting into the production phase as well, where we can do the complete hardware solution along with the software stack. So this is our that will take another 1.5 years or so. That won't be like not in 2021. It was supposed to be, but because of the COVID and funding issues, so it will be extended to next 1 year.
This is great strategy. Talk about hard numbers. That's what gets people excited. How many customers? How many? Yeah. I'm just leaving it out. You don't have to do it right now. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, definitely. I understood your point. I'll definitely keep that for the next talk.
Because it's very exciting to see what you're doing. That's it. But yeah. Over to you, Vijeta.
Yeah, sure. I just realized it's 5:20 p.m. So Dr. Gayatri, you also have been, you have, how big is your team now, Dr. Gayatri? What is your team size?
In India, we are 15 of us, and outside, I think we would be 20, total 35 right 35. Now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, actually, I also kept that slide quiet because it's there in the journey where
No, do one thing, very quickly show us that slide. Okay, just present it immediately.
There is a growth and...
Yeah. We have time. So like Parul did it, Dr. Gayatri, can you show us that slide if you don't mind?
I want to overshoot the time, yeah.
No. We have
sure. I'll just...
See, this is the difference when we are doing these kind of things. See, personally, I'll tell you, too many times that Ragini will say, okay, in the interest of time, you have 3 minutes. We don't want to
No, Vijeta, I sincerely appreciate
He was incorporated in 2017 in India, and then we moved to form, this is our presence, we moved to form a JV in USA and then in Netherlands and Europe. And our growth, we had to break even in 2018-19. I didn't put the exact number, but the plan was to become 2x, which we did. In 2x, we achieved 2x in 2019-20, and we moved to 5x in 2020-21. We are going to reach the target. And next year also, we are targeting around 10x from the different setups we have globally. And year on year after that, we want to be at 5x. So our business plan is basically numbered around this. And the traction, if I have to say, we have global license agreements, which gives us a continuous revenue in terms of retainers and royalties on the sales. And we also do lots of supplies. And we have e-presence in most of the countries. And we have county tenders in USA. We went into government tenders in USA. And recently, Reseda is one toppers of Sri Shakti Challenge COVID-19, which was conducted by UN Women Asia and My Government India. So through that, we also moved into United Nations global market for United Nations tenders. We have applied for 5 tenders, and 2 of them, we are continuously talking to them to see how it goes. But that is through the Netherlands company. And we have lots of some 6 global sales agreements actually. And then this is set up right now, which we are looking at, the next business model of backward integration of supply chain for farming to formulations. That's the business line we started, which will be our focus for the next 3 years for the group.
So this Ethnies is your brand?
Ethnies is a Section 8 company which we started to work with the farmers, because we see farmers, because of the uses of chemicals, they get into these occupational hazards, like one of the Parul has mentioned. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to see if they can avoid the uses of those hazardous chemicals, and we are giving them solutions for it. We are working with the University of Agricultural Sciences and Wageningen University in Netherlands, who are helping us in doing the establishing the processes for them.
I have a question to Dr. Gayatri.
Yes,
So you said you have markets in Europe.
Yeah.
So is this the chemicals or the plant extracts that's used in the formulation, is it registered under REACH?
Yeah, actually, okay. Under REACH and BPD, there are certain plant extracts that have exemptions. So we are applying for those exemptions. In Europe, we have not completely gone in yet. USA, we have US EPA, but for Europe, we are still working with the BPD to get a no objection certificate under the exemption list. But another way we work with these regulations is also we work with the final B2C companies, right? We are working with Marks and Spencers right now to get this product onto their textile. So M&S would apply for the OCOTEX clearance or a BPD clearance using our ingredients. We don't directly go into the market with our regulatory clearances.
Oh, okay. So you said you got the USEPA clearance. So does it come under the Safe Chemicals program?
Yes, the FIFRA, 25B FIFRA, it comes under the exempted list. All the ingredients fall under the exempted list.
So, so do you think in the future whether this product is going to be allowed to be used for organic farming?
We're already selling for organic farming.
You're already, so
we're already selling for organic farming, and we have something called NPOP clearance, that is National Program for Organic Products.
Yeah,
it is EcoCert and IndoCert. Those are the 2 organizations that handle this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri. Ragini, from your, like today it's all about remote sales, remote pitching. I'm sure you also have to go through that in your team. How do you think founders should really approach this? Is there some, ideas, inputs, practicalities from investor, founder? How do you think that we should really do, how can you do this better?
So one thing is, I think this is really great in terms of giving them enough time. We're not rushing them, but still, I think more important is to be able to explain your business in very simple language. That would remain even if you have long time or short time. So a little bit of effort on that side would be helpful, but particularly for businesses, and founders, I think today we really found time to go into what they do. Otherwise, it would have been like a blur.
Rush.
But just little feedback to Dr. Gayatri. put your brand names, because let 30 people who are hearing, let them go back and order your products on the e-commerce site.
Sure. Yeah, I
You know,
thank
because
you.
we are very shy of marketing ourselves, you know, and things like that. So just do that.
I will.
And
Thank
yeah, and overall, I think this is a great format, Vijay. I think we should do more of this. And uh, yeah, next time I think we will give more time to audience to ask their questions. I think we sort of dominated. I am guilty of that.
No, 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 not
Yeah.
at all, not at all. See, because we represent the audience and we do take in some, prior questions. But I think Ragini, your input here is very important. Are we not doing enough to brand ourselves? We're not telling our story. I mean, I think Parul was saying, okay, I just talk, I'll not present. And I said, no, boss, you have to present. And I've even told him, if you have a small video clipping, you have an explainer video.
Yeah.
So we should just go out there and tell our story. You're right, Ragini. And what else do you think we should be doing, Ragini? How can we better this format? See, here we are looking definitely at startups, founders who have got a story to tell and have reached a certain. I mean, they can't be idea stage, okay? Because that doesn't
Correct.
make sense.
Correct.
And we need an investor like you to come in. For last time, we had Suri from Idea Spring, then we
Sure.
had Raji from Arali. We had healthcare startups, etc. So, I mean, we want to make this more interesting. Would love to have some of the Caspian debt, any of your startups. If you feel that we should be showcasing, we'll do that.
Sure, that would be really nice. So one last point would be that if you can give entrepreneurs sense of who will be their audience.
Okay.
They just made assumptions and they cut out stuff. But who knows, there are investors hidden anywhere or some collaborators or marketers. If you give them a sense, that would be great.
Okay.
But I think this pitch is good. And you should also make attempts to connect people, whoever have attended, if you have their email addresses and all that, and, with the founders, and founders should also proactively ask for it.
Yes, and I think you all should put, like how Ragini, you have put your email ID, Dr. Gayatri and Parul, your LinkedIn profiles, your email IDs, you all should put it in so that the participants also who have attended can, get in touch with you. And Ragini, this is also on Facebook Live. Okay, so that's why we insisted that, please, we told you also, please put presentations, put slides, play video, because this will be watched. And then what we also do is we do market it very aggressively to our database. We put it on Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, etc. And now we'll also take these videos and we'll take all this information and put it out in more places. Okay. So yes, you're right. We will market for the startups. We will do our very best for them.
Yeah.
It's never enough, Ragini. It's never enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep talking about that, but yes, but you're right. And I think one of the things, Ragini, maybe, we can do a follow-up sessions. Maybe we can bring in, shorter demo days, startup showcases. And before they do it, maybe people like you should come and talk to them, explain to them. If you're doing it for 7 minutes, this is what you should be doing. Yeah, we'll do it better and better. We are learning.
Yeah.
We are also learning.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
But I like Sanjeeva said here on the mail, there is a lot of collaboration opportunity between Gayatri and Parul's businesses also. Yes. Why should they be spraying pesticides when they can spray organic germicides or pesticides?
Correct. You're very right. I think the fact that StatSure is another wonderful startup. They've been around for a few years, and Parul working with them is it's actually very sensible, and that's a way forward. Brilliant. So Dr. Gayatri, I have one input and question for you. How do you guys build your sales pipeline? I mean, how do you remotely you're working on, finding clients? Can you give us some bullet pointed inputs on this, please?
Yeah, actually, the sales and the commercial business development is driven by one Mr. Chris Ferry, who sits in our UK. And Chris has been he is a sales guy. 40 years he has been in sales in this particular business, and he is he understands this business for the last 40 years. So how initially we started off with the people we know. Okay, we have connected. I worked globally with many companies. I was outside India. So all the connects, all the known connects of the whole team is what we have started using to initially. Ray Gary comes with almost 45 years experience. And I come with almost 30 years of experience. The other director, Lalita, comes with 20 years of experience. So wherever we have the connects is what we have used as of today. And after that, we started actually conducting some webinars on our own, because COVID is the time we took. We work with one company called Vendorship Inc. in US, which actually conducts these webinars. So we identify the people we may want to work with, and they invite them for the webinar. We present, generally we present, and we say these are the technologies we are working with, and we are looking for partners. And I think for me, LinkedIn is a great platform. I keep writing on LinkedIn, I keep posting on LinkedIn what we are doing. And the last 2 connects were from LinkedIn, which we converted into commercial sales. So LinkedIn is another platform what we are doing. So it's webinars, LinkedIn, and social media platforms, and our own connects is how we are going to different customers.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And Ragini, how do you even? I know you do a lot of mentoring, and you guys have a huge portfolio in Caspian. So when you talk to your founders, how do you explain to them about growth, sales, business development? Be out there, write white papers, use LinkedIn. So how do you what is the input that you give to them? Even I want to learn from you, Ragini. Okay.
No, seriously, I think you are the guru of marketing, and Caspian is not. See, for us, we ask them to focus on, we never ask them to choose growth or profitability, or we make them do and. We say it has to be growth and profitability. You could sacrifice it for a couple of years, but eventually, successful businesses are made which are profitable. We don't talk about them much. They don't get much publicity, but eventually those are the businesses which help the whole ecosystem much better, in terms of, so we make them do and not or.
Okay. So that's the input for us, right? Find those, if they're willing to say, okay, we're making profits, our unit economics is good. That's the kind of showcasing and storytelling that you have to get into.
Yeah,
awesome.
or path to profitability. That is important, along with the growth.
Okay, perfect. But I'm making notes on all this, Ragini. So yes, we will work on these things. Fantastic. See, we are on 5:34, 5:35 almost. So the request that I have here is closing remarks, inputs. What else can we at TIE do more? And Ragini, you're also part of the journey. You are one of our mentors. You are doing so much for us, and not just at TIE Bangalore, but I know that you're active in so many very different ways. So happy to do more, and would love to hear from each one of you. You wonderful ladies. Thank you. In fact, next time when we do a lady thing, I should stay out of this, right? I should bring more people in.
No. Again, it is about and not or.
yeah, exactly. We should be inclusive. So please, I would love to get some closing remarks from each one of you, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Parul, you went last time, so.
Okay, so yeah, it was nice. I have already got like few connects also. So definitely, as I just mentioned, networking, it's always a great key. So yeah, it was a nice event overall, and I've got good insights from Ragini. So yeah, I'll just keep everything in my mind while presenting next time to keep my business and numbers first thing.
Okay, so 15 days from now, Parul, we're going to get you back. Okay, so we want something even more amazing from you. All right.
Definitely.
But thank you, Parul. Very nice to know that you have got sales leads and contacts. Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful insights.
Thank you, Parul. Dr. Gayatri?
Yeah, thanks, Agni. I think being a research scientist, for me, technology always matters, and the numbers always, are the secondary. So yeah, as a businesswoman, I think we need to focus on the numbers. I think that is what drives the business too. I'll keep that in mind, and also showcasing our product brands and the products. Thanks, Vijayta. I think this was a great platform to connect with people, to make, let them know what we are doing, because actively sometimes we don't do this. And people like you and TIE would help us to go into the market. Reaching out people would be a great help. And I think the inputs from the investors or the people like Ragini who understands the business also would be a great help to us. Yeah, I'll keep all that in mind, and thank you so much.
And
thanks for the opportunity.
Stay in touch, okay? Parul, Dr. Gayatri, Ragini is a wonderful person. You all must stay in touch with her.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Vijita, and my compliments for bringing these two women entrepreneurs on stage. It's very rare to see such things, that you have an investor also, woman, and keep doing more of this is
We
what
will
I'm
do, ma'am.
saying.
We will do, ma'am. Thank you
We
so much
need
for
a lot of role models out there for, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Great.
We'll do that and it'll be a follow-up. It's not that we do
Yeah.
it and then we forget about it. We will also create more and more avenues for, for investors and other people to, you all should also meet some of these wonderful people, though it's all remote as of now. And you're, for example, Ragini, you're sitting in Hyderabad, right? But you get to interact with them. And I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of warmth, there's a lot of vibes that, good vibes that happen. And we want to recreate that kind of opportunities. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Vinay.
Thank you very
everyone
much.
to join us.